Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Hamdi.
Alaikum, how are you?
Very well,
Assalamu
alhamdulillah.
alaikum.
It's good to see you again.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Bismillah. So we want to start the meeting. It's already started from before we even knew it started. I
Alhamdulillah.
want to begin with a passage from Shaykh Fadhlalla's book, The Four Journeys. I opened it this morning, and it just came, and it was, I think, very applicable at any moment, but especially now. So, Bismillahir Rahman Rahim. This is called The City Has No Roads. When you are in despair, like a dolphin high on a beach, its navigation system broken down, with no possibility of repair. Now, give up. Nowhere to turn. No hope for any place or time. Not tomorrow or next year. Then somewhere, somehow, the instant may reveal itself by itself through no effort other than helplessness. You come to know instantly the meeting between here and there, beyond the roads. And before travel was invented, for when thirst was created, so too was the eternal spring, in need of reaching thirsty lips, to be acknowledged, grateful, heartful, and hopeful. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Shaykh Hamdi, I ask you to just begin and speak with Shaykh Fadhlalla, and let us all enjoy this meeting, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Fadhlalla, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing. So nice to see you again, and in this virtual yet real setting. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. So I want to continue on the discussion that we had last time, and I want to discuss with you the topic of balance and desire. So many brothers and sisters, especially today, in the mindset of today, they ask this question about how to be balanced when it comes to desire, when it comes to the desires of the body, the desires of the I mean, this life, this physical life, can we really aspire to a lofty spiritual station while not taking care of our bodies, while not giving our bodies their right, or while not giving our bodies what while not fulfilling the desires of our bodies? I mean, in all the books of Tasawwuf, we find like denying the body its desires is part of the quest, is part of the spiritual journey, is part of the discipline, is part of the path. Some asceticism is required, but in the modern way of looking at things today, there is a big focus on this balance. The body needs to be balanced. Your desires need to be fulfilled. Otherwise, you won't be able to be mentally healthy. And if you are not healthy, mentally speaking, you won't be able to be balanced in your spiritual journey. So, anyway, so what's your input on this? I want to hear you on this topic.
Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah. Like everything else in life, that which connects can also cause a lot of disconnection. So is language. It's important to bear in mind the passage of time and the different states that an individual goes through, from birth to being a bit more mobile, to being a youngster, to being a teenager, to being more mature, and on and on and on and on. So what is relevant for a 10-year-old to compete, to run, to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be accepted, to be clapped for, is very different from that which is at the age of 20, and very different from that which is at the age of 50, and far, far, far more different from when you are at the age of 70, and so on. So the issue of balance, the issue of correct conduct, the issue of honesty, all of these change with the passage of time. The question of honesty is to reveal all what there is within you. You know, what is obviously intended and what is slightly hidden and what is subconscious, just to be completely open. So, and it changes. We must acknowledge the fact that human life is work in progress. From no consciousness at birth to the beginning of conditioned consciousness as the mother and the others try to shape it and share it with the newly born, and on and on and on, until with reflection, meditation, ibadah, with all of the other experiences that take you away from the main issue of existence or subsistence, you will begin to realize that consciousness is the whole issue, is the focus on it, the extent of it, the clarity of it, and so on. So the entire business of life, the biggest gift ever, which is an effulgence of the life giver. Life is the first radiation that took place from Allah Azza wa Jal. So it is the ultimate gift which contains within it everything else that we as human beings experience, as well as can imagine and be creative about, and so on. So the issue of balance is not to be at an extreme end of the stream of consciousness. And in other words, if you are in the middle, then one side of it accepts, likes, attracts, the other side is rejects, discards, and so on. So we are in the middle. So you will always be able to see the extremes easier. But if you're all the time in one extreme of rejecting, suspect, you won't touch the other side, you see. So it's for that reason, for human growth in humanity, it's important to be in the middle. Ummatan wasata is that. In the middle between one extreme, one, birth and death, and so on. So now, this is for subsistence, for existence. This is in order for our humanity to flourish. And humanity becomes nothing other than an animal as it is, except for the light of divinity, Rahmaniyya, Rahimiyya. So the issue that puzzles us, the issue that concerns us as human beings, is the balance between divinity, which is cosmic, timeless, eternal, beyond the mind to understand, and humanity, which is an evolved creature for billions of years, and now we call it fully mature, intelligent human beings. They are very rare. You won't find many of them. But that is what the whole story is between humanity and that vast, infinite, timeless, eternal, divine, which we call divinity. So the issue is that each one of us is both. And the purpose of this life is to help these two sides of me to resonate so closely that they are integrated. So everything I experience in this life is one of two. It's either day or night, or here or not here, or within space and time. But the ruh is not within space and time. Space and time and the consciousness of them emanate from the ruh. So my job, my duty, my quest, my hope, my prayers, my cry, my desire, my ultimate, it comes to having my humanity overwhelmed and guided by divinity, by my ruh. If it is guided by my ruh, then la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. Nothing else I could do. If you put me in that position 1,000 times, I'll do exactly what I did then, because I wasn't the Hadrat al-Rabbaniyya. I was present. I will do the same thing. That's it. So there's no regrets. There is no guilt. There is no, it's there. I will do the same. I see something unjust, something not fair, out of balance, and let we are in the earth now after billions of years of adjustment in temperature and pressure and this, that, billions of years. ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها. The earth now is in salah. So don't disturb it as we have been doing. We've been doing it. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر. Everywhere you look, there is human interference, often not in a reversible way. And that's why suffering will increase and increase and increase. The one thing you can be sure of is human suffering, denial, and exasperation and anger will increase by what we are doing ourselves. Why? Because everybody thinks I'm free, free, free. The two big delusions that has misguided all of us is the quest for freedom. Freedom of what? You're hanging on billions of different subtle interaction within you, whether it is the physical, biological, chemical, hormonal, emotional. They have to be in balance, connectedness. They must relate to each other. But no, I want to be free. I'm hanging on air and I want to be free. What? If the oxygen level changes by 10%, there will be a major change on our Earth. If you look back at the Earth's history, there were occasions when the oxygen level rose, much more than what it is now, to 30, 40%. There was catastrophic changes on that. Now, I want to be free. And the other one is, I want to be happy. Happy. Meaning what? Happy what? Happiness for a 3-year-old child is very different from a happiness for somebody who's enjoying doing some very intricate movements on a rope and on and on. These are the two big pitfalls in human beings now. I want to be happy. I'm not happy with this. I have to change. Not happy with my wife. Not happy with my job. Not happy with my place. Not happy with my skin. I'll have a grafted new skin, and on and on and on. Happiness is a radiation from the ruh, because the ruh is beyond happiness. The ruh can never be unhappy.
Mm.
Therefore, you can't say the ruh is happy. The ruh is in bliss, in a cosmic bliss state. It's not, because happiness can also bring unhappiness. Wealth can also be associated with poverty, and so on and so on. Health, illness. We are in a zone of duality. I can never be in this zone wealthy unless I have danger of impoverishment. Healthy unless I'm in the danger of illness. Awake, I'm in danger of falling in a coma or sleep. This is how it is. This is as it is. So the foundation of our deen and Quran and what we also call Islam is that accept it. Accept the truth of the moment. You can't go against it. Accept the fact that every day you are getting closer to leaving this amazing cosmic instrument, which is the body and all the organs and the amazing interaction that goes on. It will end. So therefore, anxiety is in my nature. To have missed the opportunity, missed the day. Every moment is precious. Why? So that by grace of Allah, I touch that zone of timelessness, which is the state of the ruh. That's why there's anxiety about age or umr, so that whilst I'm still within space and time, I experience timelessness. And that is where security lies. Everything around us in this world is subject to uncertainty. Nothing around us is 100% certain except death. That's the only certainty. So the only way I can truly be content in the moment, more than earthly happiness, to be accepting, content with it, is to constantly calibrate with timelessness. How? Get out of space and time. How? By grace. Have no fears, no desires, no anxieties. Also the issue of vices and virtues. More and more and more virtues because they are transmitted from the ruh. And the vices are the darknesses that are transmitted from the nafs, which is an echo of the ruh. More and more and more in virtues until I am entering into a new land, new territory. It's not an earthly territory. It's not an heavenly, it's beyond. It is where everything is possible. And that where I lose the sense of being I. Lose yourself. Mut qabla an tamut. And all of these things. Lose it for a little while. So that you touch the zone of timelessness. Now you are at the gateway of your ruh. Because it's timeless. Boundless. It's an issue of space and time. The ruh is not in space and time. The nafs is very much in space and time and wants to be as the ruh is. But it's alive because of the ruh. So don't be too concerned. You can't be the ruh. The ruh is the ruh and the nafs is the nafs. And the nafs aspires to be the ruh. Good. You're aspiring, but now keep quiet. I want to shut everything down. Shut it all down completely. No movement in the neurons. Silence at every level. Physiological, biological, hormonal, silence. It is from that zone that every aspect of time emerges. Millions of years, billions of years, timelessness, they all emerge from silence of timelessness. So if you want to be really content, certain, secure, You have to leave this zone of day-to-day consciousness, conditioned consciousness, as we all are. Do good, do this. We have to put it down for a little while and hope and pray that by grace, the infinitude of reality itself will touch you. Say, Subhanallah. كان الله ولم يكن شيء معه وهو كما كان. And then you then deal with this world. A bit of extra, top, higher, lower. Then you act as a human. Then you enjoy humanity. It doesn't become a burden. It becomes a magnificent gift as a tool rather than becomes an obstacle. Humanity is a necessary tool to play as a little godling. I can do things, I cannot do things, I can choose, I cannot choose, and all of these silly little things. And you can do them all, and then you say, I have no interest in doing all of them. They're all available. I don't want to do anything unless it is sanctioned by my rule. I don't want to do anything that I regret, that I feel later on not happy about, that I feel guilty about, that I say, oh, why didn't I do it? So you are present, 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 present. And then you are human and alive by the mysterious touch of the superhuman, suprahuman, the divine. That's all what it is. And then you are truly in gratitude, beyond your ability to describe it, express it. Khalas, that's it. Then a worthy human being has landed on earth by permission, by grace of that which is heavenly, which is ruhi. That's it. It's nothing too important either. That's it. It's supposed to be that. We're supposed to live accountable, courageously as human, but completely and utterly free by grace of the boundlessness of Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. That's all. Doesn't take that long. We just have to be honest. Where did you get the power from? Where will it go when you die? Be honest, accountable, and be in the moment. And the moment is infinite. That's it. And that's how I think our deen will be rediscovered.
Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful description. So there is this consciousness development that is required, and to be honest, to be accountable, to be in the moment, and to open to this grace, to move from the place of duality to get to a place of oneness, to move from this perception of mortality to, I would say, to the perception of immortality. So there is a journey there. There is a journey there. And you mentioned the word grace 2 times or 3 times here. Is there something that the human, the seeker, should be doing, an effort that the seeker should be putting there to open to that grace, to allow that grace, to allow himself or herself to be touched by that grace? Is there an exercise of consciousness development that you recommend? You mentioned silence. Silence, I mean, there is the physical silence, but we know that the majority of people today, even when they try to be silent, they're still busy, and there is still lots of noise going on inside, and silence is a state that people do not everyone can get to it easily. So is there an exercise, are there steps that you can describe to people today to really develop their consciousness and take this this path that you just described to arrive at that place of high consciousness, and to be connected, to become that superhuman connected to the suprahuman, which is the divine presence.
That connection is always there. That's why it is a mistake to begin to say, I would like to connect with God. There's only God. There's only God and his ways and his powers. Wherever you look, فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا ثَمَّ وَجْهَ اللَّهِ. But all what the growing person, somebody who's becoming more mature, can do is to turn away from all of the nafsi issues, which are within the huge, if you like, basket of aspects that we have to avoid, which are all of the disgraceful things: greed, anxiety, power, to be acknowledged, to be respected, to be this. Avoid the 100 to 200 vices and take on the 100 to 200 virtues. Give without account if you're giving. Give without expectation of reward. And forget it. Be correct, be honest, be present in the moment. Don't invest what of tomorrow. That you may have to do in very low, basic physical things. Will this roof last 1 year or 2 years? That's fine. And the physical, material, chemical, biological, this is fine. To question time, because the ruh is timeless. And the quest of every one of us is towards timelessness. How long will you love me? How long will this thing last? The first thing we ask, how long will this work last? Or your income last? How long is your awareness of the infinite last? That is, make sure that is there. The rest will take care of itself. It is self-organizing. And that is how evolution is. For millions of years, self-organizing, self-organizing, self. And we will abandon that and develop something new. Develop a new way of growing higher and higher in mobility, physical mobility, mental mobility, spiritual mobility. It will come on its own. You have no guarantee. You just have to do what you can, and suddenly, Subhanallah, La ilaha illa ant, Subhanak inni kuntu min al-zalimin. That's it. And you see Allah's rahmah in your mistake. You see Allah's rahmah in your forgetfulness. You see Allah's rahmah in your meanness. Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. And then you really enter into spiritual silence, which you were asking about. But you start with silence in mouth, silence in head, silence in conscious, in subconscious, until such time you find the ruh is your nature, your reality. And the ruh just enables you and I to be alive unconditionally. I mean, if this is not divine, what is divine? And then you experience it yourself, by yourself, until yourself. إن الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجب. We're in a rush because it's correct to be in this zone of constriction of space and time. So I'm in a rush to know that Allah is in charge. We all want hope. What is hope other than knowing that Allah is in charge? Al-Hayy al-Qayyum, the most important of all, ever living, ever in charge. What more do you want? Allah is ever in charge. Allah has allowed me to go astray so as I suffer, I fall, I regret, I cry, and I come back. لعلهم يرجعون. It's all about لعلهم يرجعون. It's already done. The pattern is already set. It is I and you and he and she we need to be careful as to which of these different intricately connected patterns are we flowing through. That's all. That's all it is. And that requires being alive in the moment. Otherwise, makaru wa makarullah. Wallahu khairul makirin. I can't trick. I can't be a bigger trickster or bigger, greater illusion. No. And it is magnificent. And that is why some people, when they enter the garden, paradise, the Quran says, they say, هذا ما أوتينا من قبل. We have already experienced this.
No.
ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا. We want nothing other than absolute tawheed. But initially you need to think of tawheed al-af'al, tawheed al-sifat, tawheed. All fine, that's all fine, nothing. It's all good. That's why we're given such a long lifetime. It's too long. Really, it's too long. You don't need more than 1 second. It's too long. 80 years, 90 years. What have you done with it? How did you do all this stuff?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you. What I love about your answers that they are not conventional, and I was expecting you to mention something like the exercises that a more conventional answer, like well, dhikr is an exercise to develop your consciousness, reciting the Quran is an exercise to develop your consciousness, doing this or doing that, meditation is an exercise to develop your consciousness, but you gave us I would say a deeper answer, a deeper answer. This said, what is the place then of dhikr in getting there, in getting to that zone of the ruh? Isn't dhikr or salat literally, isn't it supposed to be a remembrance of that state, of that connection that you mentioned? It's already there, but just we forget about it. Is it it's not a tool, it's not an exercise, it's not meant to be an exercise to remember that dimension of existence, that we are sahun anha, we are musallin, we are connected, but we are completely negligent and unaware of that connection. Isn't the salat and the dhikr, aren't they tools aren't they supposed to be exercises to get us there, or to remind us of that dimension? So what's the best way of using these tools and exercise, and prescribing these tools and exercises to the seeker?
They're all correct, what you say. All are necessary. It's preparation. If you like, in a Sufi language, you can say the most important thing is emptying out. Takhliya. Empty out. Empty out your desires, your fears, your anxieties, your illusion that you are a big religious person or a spiritual person or whatever, because you have done so much dhikr. Takhliya. And then tasfiya, then purify. The most important thing in our deen is tasfiya, which is called tazkiyah in the Quran. Tazkiyat al-nafs, purify. Don't ever think it is due to you. There is no you. There is only a ruh that has given this imprisonment for a while in space and time on earth. So it has a nafs. That's how it is. Don't deny it. It's part of the process for us to rise in intelligence. It's all about intelligence. And that dhikr, remember, هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا? Yes and no. As an insan, my parents didn't know I would be born as who I am. So. But as a ruh, the ruh knew that there would be an end, because they are in another zone of consciousness, not the zone of duality as we humans are. It's as simple as that. So I have to do my best to maintain the vehicle, the body, the organs, the mind, the neurons, as clean, as clear as possible, because I'm a host of the Ruh. I have to act responsibly as a host for the Ruh, which is divine. So at best, I am here only to ensure that that thing which is a Ruh, which is a bit like a flame, stays for a while. Like a flame, it touches and goes. If it's not happy, if it is a shock, if it is shot, it goes, it leaves. So my job is a custodian of a ruh, so that the ruh does its journey min amri rabbi, and then it completes it. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. So the ruh returns back, having seen the up and the down and the suffering and the lies and the this. راضية مرضية. وادخلي في عبادي. Then enter as my people in ubudiyya. And as a result of that, ادخلي جنتي. That's the whole story. But what you say is important. For the young people, you have to be at it, until such time you don't know who's making dhikr. You lose yourself, you see. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. No doubt. Dhikrullah meaning you don't remember anything else. If you remember anything else, Allah will not be there. It won't work. So it's practice until you realize that was your real nature, the higher nature, the Rouhani nature. But of course, you have to do all of these things. You must do all of it. But they are necessary conditions, but not enough. What is enough is grace. You can't tell. You can't tell when. It's like somebody came to Bustami. He says, I've heard you 70 years saying these things, and I don't get the taste of it. He said, not 70. If you stay another 7,000 years, you will not get it. There is a structural defect. Some people haven't got it. You can't do it. You know, something is missing, whatever. We don't know what. It's not about لا بجد واجتهاد عطاء من الجواد. It doesn't mean you do not do جد واجتهاد. No, you do. Don't attribute it to that. That is reducing the darkness of humanity.
So for English speakers, sorry to interrupt. For English speakers, جد واجتهاد means seriousness and effort, and
correct.
So it's not, so basically what you were saying, so it's not something that you can attribute to our seriousness, sincerity, and efforts, but we can only attribute it to the grace, to the gift from the generous one.
But it does not negate the need to have jid wajtihad. That's the issue. Doesn't negate the constant need to be accountable, to be honest, to be in the moment, to be generous, to be correct, to be and so on. It doesn't negate that, but it doesn't become because of that. It comes because the nafs had become less, if you like, dominant, less in control, less in the illusion that I am free, I can do anything. That's the only issue. La ilaha illallah will shine. Hmm.
Alhamdulillah, this is deep, and this is profound, and I hope we can, and I pray that our intelligence really rise to this level of consciousness, so we can actually live this life. You mentioned that the intelligent people, there are only few of them, and that those who there are only few intelligent people. There are only few intelligent human who rose to the mission of being a human. That's what I understood. Is that what you meant? So the majority of a human being and are not really realizing the gift, which is the divine consciousness that is channeled through them, and they're not emerging. The majority of human beings are not really emerging. They are not really rising to the level of insan, to the level of humanity. The majority of human beings and are lost in the mass, or in the foam of a nest of just being like everyone else, and being unconscious, and only few are rising to become al-insan, to become the human that can actually that can understand this, that can take this journey, that can receive this grace that you are talking about. Is that what you meant when you
I
said?
think the issue that you've just now focused on is very important. And I hope you yourself, with the few people around you, can discuss it more and more and more, and possibly come up with a very special, if you like, high quality, dense understanding of intelligence, because it is in parallel with dhikr also. Intelligence has been defined and redefined and redefined and categorized. One very typical but useful way is to divide it into different zones of the human, if you like, consciousness. There is physical intelligence, chemical, biological, and then there is higher intelligence, and there is subtler intelligence, there is emotional intelligence, then there is spiritual intelligence. Intelligence is a precursor to knowledge. Knowledge is based on cause and effect. If you do this, this will happen. Knowledge is that if you don't do the right material for your roof with a very strong rain or wind, it will collapse. So this cause and effect. It's intelligence about construction, about material, about this and that, that will tell you what to do and what not to do. Intelligence is a catalyst and an advance agent of what connects. And it comes to a point that, like a rope ladder hanging from the highest zone of, if you like, heavens down to earth, you climb and you climb and you climb. Intelligence, human intelligence, you know that by deception, by this, by having the right, if you like, aura, the right, everybody wants more money. So if people perceive by being close to you, they'll make more money, they all run to you. It's very simple. So if you can dress up yourself and the people around you being, all that powerful in terms of material advance, they'll all run. So then you go more and more and more until you reach a point that intelligence is no longer discernible. It is next to pure beingness. Just to be. Khalas. Beingness. It's no longer becoming. It's no longer acquiring or losing. Intelligence is, the Quran describes it in about a dozen different ways. Inna arsalnaka shahidan. That's one of the proofs of intelligence. Witness. Inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran. We sent you in order to witness. Witness what? Physical reality, biological reality, emotional reality, human reality, tribal reality. I belong to this tribe. Religious reality. I belong to this religion. So I have an affinity. Witness, 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 until you find you are witnessing you to the gift of sight and insight. Sight and insight. So your insight will tell you all of that coming from the one and only giver, Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is the good news, Mubashira. Inna arsalnaka shahidan. Allah is in charge. And khalas, once you know Allah is in charge and that nothing ever escapes His knowledge, His power. So what is the problem? What is the worry? It is really the ultimate gift that you know that Allah's rahmah wasi'at kulli shay, including my mistake, including my suffering, including my falling and breaking a leg because I was not focused. I was not aware of what I'm doing. So therefore, Hayy al-Qayyum. If you return to that ever living, which we aspire for, that's why we want prolonged life. Nearly 60% of earthly endeavor is to live longer. 30-40% of the medical industry. Hayy, to be alive. Baba, life will continue. And the life of my ruh is continuous. So what's the whole problem about? Do your best, because you don't like pain, yes. Don't suffer, that's fine. Don't eat too much. Don't overdo it, it's fine. Hayy Qayyum. And Allah knows. Allah is in charge. وَيَرْزُقُكُم مِّنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَحْتَسِبُ. Suddenly you find your provision, doesn't mean physical, the goodness that comes to you from where you didn't expect. Somebody says, look here, I can do this for you. And that person may have been there for a long time, but you and I didn't notice because our mind was somewhere else. Not being present. All what we need is to trust, trust, trust. Do our best. And leave the rest. It doesn't preclude any of the things that religious people or the basic teacher in the madrasa hopes to do. Do it. No, that's grooming. That's a basic fundamental education. Adab, all of it is courtesy. Adab. Who are you talking to? So the young people were taught that. You know, now we're in the company of older people. Saying, serve them, help them, be quiet, don't. But with the advent of anything can go, I am free, my parents, this is now a new generation. We're not the same as our grandparents. This is where we are now. Look at the mess we are in and ever increased suffering. That's it. And it will continue. So don't be surprised ever if the suffering of humanity will continue in leaps and bounds. Because we have not been in our hearts given full attention to the divinity that is giving us humanity. That's it. نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم. That's who we are. Simple as that. We have to اقرأ, read it. We have to read it. So we have to read the Quran, not be just recitation. So an intelligent person is he or she who is alive now joyfully, blissfully, not just pleasure. Pleasure will always accompany displeasure. I want a state that has no downside. And that will only come if I am constantly replenishing myself, my mind, my ruh, my present state through the ultimate divine light. That's it. Rise with intelligence to the source of intelligence, which is Allah. That's it. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. So you have to do it. Do what you can and be patient. What does it matter? A few years earlier, a few years later, Allah's rahmah wasi'at kulli shay. And Allah's generosity that all the arwah have the same possibility. No ruh has given more than the other. But some arwah are covered more with the nafs, so dark that it's become shaitan. That's all. Really, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. So we have to celebrate the truth that Allah is in charge. Celebrate also the earthly limitation that human beings are given a bit of an opportunity to act. لِنَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. That's all. So as I excel in what I do, if not, don't do, keep quiet. You're not certain, don't do.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for all this generosity and for this wisdom. Thank you for this beautiful energy beyond the words and this beautiful presence that we feel even through the screen here. We feel it in we feel this blissful state just listening to you. These words are clearly coming from a place of truth, from a place of experience, and that's why they impact, and we feel them even in the deepest level of our consciousness. So thank you for this presence, and thank you for this opportunity, really, to do something, which is basically just to connect, establish a small connection, and here the teacher is there and sharing the wisdom. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with God. Just a very small thing, very small effort. It's not even an effort. Everything is already there. Just establish a connection that is already there, and aqim as-salat, and that's it. And it's there. And
Bismillah. Effort is needed at the base level of humanity. As humans, we must take on as much as we can of the virtues. Kindness, goodness, forgiveness, and all of the virtues, 50, 60, 100 of them, as humans, so that we begin to see the light behind all of these virtues. In the meantime, we have left behind all the vices, meanness, covetousness, lies, deception, selfishness. So everyone has to do it to themselves if they want to be ready for the next zone of consciousness after death. If you do that, then death is the most natural gateway to the absolute. So you have no concern. Anytime it may come, Bismillah. Nothing more you can do. And I think you are in a very favorable situation where you are. You have intelligent people around you. Take any of these issues, take dhikr, and have few sessions on that. And you yourself go also to the Quran, look at all the words in which that word appears. Dhikr. Many of these words describe different aspects of the ladder of intelligence. going up until such time. The source of dhikr is the nur of Allah. It's in every heart. But it has to be done. It's no use trying to have one-upmanship as many silly Sufi competitors do. Our Shaykh is greater, our this is greatest. It's past. That era served this purpose. It's no longer. People don't want personalities anymore. They want direct, personal confirmation of the divine presence. It served this purpose. So no longer, now our Shaykh is greater than he was. So great, good. Bismillah, I am delighted. I had wonderful time with you.
Alhamdulillah.
Bismillah. Bismillah, Bismillah. Whenever you wish, inshallah, Allah will make it easy as it has this time. And we celebrate the one and only reality that is worth celebrating.
Allah.
Allah Azza wa Jalla.
Allah. La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shaykh Hamdi, Shaykh Fadhlalla.